Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Starflight Creations, where I talk about my cross-stitching. And this will be all of my cross-stitching for the month of March. I had plans to come through mid-March and do my typical 2-week update. However, at the time I was really busy. I just gotten sick and I didn't feel like I had enough stitching done, so I was like, oh, I'll wait until 3 weeks out. And then 3 weeks out I was really busy with work and trying to get things done, and by the time I went to put things together, I was getting ready to head out to the next city over to do some stuff for work, and so I was trying to do it all really fast. At the end of the night, I just realized that April was right on the corner. Might as well just wait and do it all together. So sorry that I've missed one, but I will try and do better leading up into April. But as for my stitching, I did 3,737 stitches in the month of March, which is pretty good for me. I got quite a bit done, and also got quite a bit done tangentially, at least, to cross stitch, so it wasn't solely about cross stitch, which was nice. So first things first, to jump into my whips, my works in progress. Most of mine kind of turned into monogamous stitching, where I worked on a bunch of them, but mainly focused on a few. So the first one was my one that I did for Andrew the Runner Stitcher's Wip-into-shape, which is, he is doing a bunch of walks where he challenges you to do so many stitches, either for how many miles he walks, or how many steps he did in the walks, or how long it took. I'm doing mine on the miles that he did, and it was really funny because at the beginning of it, I was telling my friend that I needed Andrew to get a job, just because he kept putting out like 2 or 3 things a week, and I was like, I really need him to slow down. And like the next day he released a video where he was like, I'm kind of behind myself on this, and I'm going to drop it to 1 or 2 a week, which was really nice because it allowed me to catch up. At one point I think I was caught up. Now I don't know. I just got back from being out of town, and so I didn't have this one there with me. And so I think he might have released 2, so I might be behind again. But I tried really hard to get caught up, and I did get a lot of stitches into it. And so the piece that I'm using for it is the Nostalgic Tarot Frames, which is by the Witchy Stitcher, which looks like this when it is fully done. The last time you saw it, it looked like this. I put in 1,596 stitches into this. This is on 16 count Black Ada, which I hand dyed and then hand used fabric paint to make it look like the starry sky. And here is what it's looking like now. So I have, as Andrew would say, ate my vegetables and had some of the main course at the same time. So I went up here and extended the tea when I was eating my vegetable and working on the frame. And then I came down here and was just taking a color and color completing it, or at least color completing it until my thread ran out. So all of the white in that first frame is all done, and then I've just started taking like a color at the top and working it way in. I have been trying to put a lot of progress into this because in April, or today's the 1st of April, so on the 22nd time going into Denver, Colorado to the Children's of the Thread Cross Stitch Retreat, where the Witchy Stitcher is one of the people there, and so a lot of people have been stitching this because they're a member of her Patreon, and so they've got them early, because she released the frame and then she released all of the cards, 2 of them a month, into her Patreon, and so a bunch of people have stitched it from her Patreon, and they're going to be there and going to take a picture of all of them together. So I've been trying to get mine as far along as I can. I'm nowhere going to be able to get close to being caught up, but I just kind of wanted to get it closer. And she finally released the full frame with all of the cards, and so I purchased that. And so now I can actually give full statistics on everything. So there's 111,116 total stitches. So I am now up to 3,704 stitches into this. And so I am, I'd say probably about 50% of the way done with that first card. So I'm really excited about that. My goal is to get this first card done before the retreat. I feel like that will give me a good point to show, give me something to show when everybody does their things. And I was inspired to do this project by Joshua from Crossstitch in Cambria, and he just finished his, so he will be at the retreat and showing off his full one. And I got from Joshua's line the cross stitch is metal tote bag, which I was really excited about. I also have one of his shirts, but they're from the other. He did like one with a crappy thing, which I got, and then due to how bad that one was for him, he went ahead and switched to Fourth Wall, which is where I made this tote, and they had shirt options. Hopefully at some point he will get the unicorn onto there, and then I can go ahead and rebuy that shirt from them. But so that was the first thing I got done, and I was really happy about that. And then the second thing that I did was I got re-inspired by Michael of Uplift Stitches. He was doing the Threadwalker challenge by Wild Fox Stitchery, and so he was sharing on his last, or maybe now it might be 2 at this point, videos ago, his character that he was doing for it, and it re-inspired me to do it. And the other main project that I've been wanting to get a lot of progress on, I decided I was going to focus on that. So I started the Threadwalker challenge, and so my character is Windworm. I am a Thread Ranger, and I have a little gold dragonling pet that I called Silvara, who is attempting this with me. And my backstory: a solitary soul, Windworm lives among the canyons and crags of the endless desert, where he watches over the tiny dragonlings that inhabit it. He is summoned to the Catching Caves one day, where he discovers that one of the teaching patterns, full of history, has vanished. He sets off, accompanied by Silvara, his companion, to retrieve the missing pattern. And I am happy to announce that I fully finished level 10 and faced my first boss. So, as I was traveling my way through the canyons, trying to find the teaching pattern, I had my needle stolen by a pixie, which wasn't too bad. I quickly regained that and got back on my path. Then I reached a fork in the canyon, offering new sights, but I had just set out on my path, and so I was quite content to keep going, and I continued on the trail of the pattern. And then I hit a maze of tunnels, which got me hopelessly confused. Luckily, I had Silvera there to help me, so it only took me an extra 100 stitches to get back on path and trace through the maze of tunnels, where I found the boss, a Tangled Horror, which we easily completed by using one of the modifiers I had gained, because I rolled a 7 and I needed an 8. But at that point I had already gained 2 modifiers, and so I decided to use one and make it into an 8 to handily defeat that boss and move on. Unfortunately now, it's up to 200 stitches to get to each level, so I am still making my way through level 11, but I am now having a lot of fun moving my way through that. So I put in 1,244 stitches into my piece, and my piece is Living Room Set Number 2 by Elena Lartsova. She is a Russian seller who I originally got her. I got the full set pack off of mybobbin.com. Unfortunately, it looks like probably due to copyright things that she got, she took it off. She has a bunch of other stuff on there, but she doesn't still have the living room sets. So luckily, I got all 4 of them in a group when I bought this one. So I do have the other 3 living rooms to get through once I finish this one. But I've been trying to power my way through. I have been staying so long at right close to getting to 7,000 stitches that I just need to get there. I never felt it was going to be there. And then I finally hit that. Not 7,000, 6,000. And then now I am like 2,000 away from hitting under 5,000. 200 stitches away from hitting under 5,000. So I'm really excited there. That's really helped me. And so I'm getting also really close to hitting 80% of the way done with this. So I'm really excited. I am doing this on a 14 count Black Ada. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of where you saw it last. But I can tell you where it was, because last time I had just right where this line ends. That's a page line. And I didn't really have anything up here above that. And so I took and put in all of this. And so I basically started up here and would choose a color and would work my way down until I either ran out of the thread or ran out of stitches of that color. And then I'd go back up and choose the next color and start working my way down. And then I did stop and put in 2 colors just because I found them and they only had like, I think one of them had 3 stitches and the other one had 15. So I knocked those out just to be done with those colors, and then just kept adding it in. So I am really pleased with how much work I've gotten on this. The only thing that I'm really not looking forward to is once this gets done, there is a giant amount of backstitch and French knots, and so that will be, like, as you can tell, I started way back when I was first doing this, doing the French knots as I ran across them, but I quickly discovered that when I put the Q-snap over it because I had a smaller Q-snap at that point and I was moving it around a lot, or I'd have it in like a wooden hoop frame, that it would just smash those. And so I stopped doing that, and so I've been waiting till the end to do it. So there will be a lot of backstitching on this once I get to that point. But I am excited to finally be getting close to knocking this one out, and excited to get a large amount of progress into that. Back at the beginning of the month for the next one, I was working on when my WipGo starts. Before I go to that, so I did put 1,244 stitches into that, which brings me up to 19,212 stitches. That number might be off. But over 19,000 stitches out of 24,627. So I'm really excited about there. And so for my WipGo, for anybody who doesn't know, is a bingo-like game created by Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on YouTube and Instagram. So she'll call out 2 numbers every month, and people will put work into them. I didn't really have a whole lot of projects at the beginning of the year. I had, I want to say like maybe 13. Which isn't bad, but it didn't feel like enough to really dedicate to a WipGo. But I also had a lot of projects that I had purchased, I had patterns lying around, and I just wasn't starting. And I was like, because I've kind of been in like this old monogamous stitching mindset where it's like you pick it up, you work it. And I was trying to get more working on those, but then I'm also like, if I never start any of them, I will never get to stitch on them. So I decided to help me with that, I was going to put 24 projects in a WipGo, and then as she called them, I would start the projects that month. And so then I kind of copied Crafting Emily, where she has something where as she had an advent calendar, and as she completed her WipGo, she would put money in there. And then at the end of the year, she would unload it, see how much she had made. And so I stole that idea from her. And so I've been I have it all set up in a little advent calendar. And then each time I get the 500 stitches I have to do into the new start, I will put the money in. So far, I've only completed one of them and managed to give it the $5. So one of the things I did work on this month was one of the WipGo calls for January, which was Penance. Penance is by Long Dog Samplers. Here's what it will look like when it's finished. I am doing this on a 22 count Aida that I hand dyed. And unfortunately I do not have a picture of where it was last time. But also I only put in 89 stitches, so it's not vastly different from where you saw it last time. So now it's at 281 stitches out of 81,612. And so I was kind of continuing it on, and so I took it over, and so you can kind of tell that there's a little bunny right there. And so I got that bunny added this time. And so I am continuing on to try and get this one to my 500. So that way I can complete another one. I'm pretty sure this one was for January. Let me check. Yes. So I did complete one of the ones for February, and so I wanted to complete at least one of the ones for January before jumping on to some of the other ones that I need to start for February, or the other one I need to start for February. So then once I got that done, I joined Michael from Uplift Stitches and Jason X Stitches here on YouTube. Oops. Sale that they were doing for the beginning of spring, the hashtag Leap into Spring sale. Because right when they announced it, they were like, "Oh, stitch a frog," or something that leaps. And I was like, "Oh, well, I have a friend who likes frogs, but I don't have any frog patterns." And then that same day, I'm gonna try to pronounce this, but I am warning you now, it's going to be butchered. Nazdezhda Gravlyakova. I'm in part of her Facebook group because she's released a bunch of dragon patterns on Etsy that I really love. She released a free little frog pattern. And I was like, oh, I really love this. It's really cool. But I was like, there's no way on earth my friend will like it because it is a yellow frog. And she gets very particular about her frogs. So I was like, she's not going to be a giant fan of this. And instead she was like, I love that. So I decided, okay, I will stitch that up for her. So here is what, if I can get this to, yeah, well, come on, do the YouTube thing. Alright, let me try to turn down the brightness on this. That work? A little bit better. Alright, so there is what it will look like when it is finished. And it is almost finished. I decided to do this on a piece of fabric that I hand dyed myself. And here's what it looks like. So, as you can see, I only have the little flower to finish around him. So this is 529 stitches, and I'm at 445 stitches. So, 84 stitches and I'll be done. So that one is exciting. I did do that one mainly on my lunch breaks. So I'm hoping to knock that one out soon and be done with it, and then get back to working on some of the other smalls that I was supposed to start for WipGo for March. And then that brings me to the stitching that I did at the beginning of the month for Darkthorn Keep. So Darkthorn Keep is a game that I made based on a game that Jessie Marie Does Stuff released called Milestone Manor. I kind of created mine way back before she really announced, like she'd given like a bare bones thing, but she was like, I'm waiting to tell you more information about it till I knock my things out. But a lot of hers, as from her milestone in the name, are about trying to get milestones, which for her, who has like 60 full coverage projects and all of them are really far in, like she's got a bunch of milestones that she could look at. I had like at that point 8 projects and none of them were anywhere beginning, and so I was like, I'm not going to get milestones onto these anytime soon, but I wanted to keep stitching, so I decided I was going to make mine just to keep stitching. And so I decided to start exploring a path kind of like D&D, and in each room I would find a boss. That would be one of my projects. I would have to do so many stitches on it and then knock it out. I've kind of reworked it a little bit to lower the stitch count just to make sure I can get some of my other projects done, do some other things besides cross stitching without feeling like I'm, not getting my goals accomplished. So last time I had started in a graveyard and then made it to the church, and now I went under the church to the catacombs. So I'm down at the bottom left. I just descend the stairs, and I worked through 2 rooms in there. And then I had to like stop and decide where I was going. And so I think I am just going to continue exploring across the bottom to the far right. So in the 2 rooms, the first thing that I got was a piece that I'm doing for my friend's wedding. I had some progress on a piece that I had designed. Granted, the design was crap. I tried to fix it while I was stitching it, and that made it more crap. And so eventually I just decided, we're done with this. So I went back, redid the design, and restarted the whole thing over. So I have put in 196 stitches in it, so it's now up to 196 of 3,388. It is on 14 count white Aida. And here is what it looks like. I almost had issues with this one again, because when I was doing this over here, which is part of the body of this witch, for some reason I did like an extra 4 stitches there, and if it just turned it into a thick witch, I would have done that. My friend is curvy, and she would have been perfectly happy with a thick witch. Unfortunately, there was a lot of other things that were there based, like there's a broom and other things around it, and I just didn't want to throw off any of the other things, so, and trying to fudge on the last one had already messed me up so badly, so I was just like, nope, we're not doing this. Went back, frogged it all out, put it back in, which sucked because of the way I'd stitched it. I had to undo everything over here, just down so that it was just this hand and arm, and then restitch all of this again. But now I've got that up. I was stitching this one on my lunch breaks till I started stitching the frog, so it has really kind of stopped. It did get the 100 stitches that I was supposed to get for being called for Darkthorn Keep, and then I missed a day, so I did throw in an extra 50 stitches into it to get it to 150, and then it's gotten almost another 50 since then of just extra things being thrown into it because it was at work and I had it available to work because it's all black and it didn't need a lot to take with me. So that's at 5.2% done. So the other one that got spun on my wheel for Darkthorn Keep was Chase, or The Chase. This is a Heaven and Earth Designs by Matt Stewart. The artist is Matt Stewart. It is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I'm doing it on an 18 count antique white Aida. And shockingly, I have a picture of where you saw it last. So I put in 167 stitches on this one to bring it to 588 stitches of 247,600 stitches. So all of my stitches were up here in this little side border right there. Just putting in extra stitches. I'd grab one and bring it down, and then grab another card and bring it down. It really doesn't look like a whole lot, but it did get me my 100 stitches plus an extra 50 for having missed the days of stitching. So I'd only missed 2 days of stitching, and I got my extra days stitching put into both of these 2 projects to make up for it. And so that is all the stitching that I've done for March, which did bring me, like I said, up to 3,737 stitches, which when I put that into Michael's RPG character creator, which for you, those of you who don't know, he's got a game going where you have a spreadsheet, you put in your totals for the month, and then it will tell you a point that you have achieved. You put that point into a different part of the spreadsheet, and it tells you, it creates a D&D character for you. So, January was race, and I got elf. February was your class, and I got artificer. And so, March was for your starting equipment, and I got a quarterstaff, a javelin. It seemed like, because I only got 105 points because I had a bunch, I didn't really have any finishes, and I had a bunch of new starts and things that were under 300 stitches, that I got really low on points, and so it sounded like they just were nice to my character, because I got like Dungeoneering pack, Thieves Tool, a javelin, arrows, a hand crossbow, like I got everything, so I was like, okay. So next month is background. April is background, so I'm hoping to get a really nice one, because I will get the retreat in there. So I should get a lot of stitching done at the retreat and be able to get it done. Other than that, I did finally start, like I said in my last video, getting some of the stuff done for the retreat. And so one of the things that I was going to do was create some padfolios for friends. I think I'm calling them friends. For Flosstubers who I am watching and I know that are going to be at the retreat. So one of them is Joshua from Cross Stitch in Cambria. So I made a little unicorn padfolio. So it has a pouch, it has a couple of pockets where you can put your patterns and whatnot, and then it has a bunch of little bobbin holders where you can stash your bobbins. This one took me ages because I tore it apart and kept putting it back together. Every single time I looked at it, the seam would be wrong. Even now, it still shows the white there, which I gave up, but it does look a lot better now than when it first started, but that one gave me a lot of issues. Compared to that, the one that I did for Natasha, who runs the Discord group Wanderlust for a different stitching game, hers flew together. The only the only issue I had with hers was that I was pretty sure that this spot where I sewed the seam was on the back, and then that turned into be the front. But other than that, hers flew together. But I feel like the mapped patterns and the little colors and signs really worked well with because her Wanderlust game is all about stitching for each country and earning stamps in the passport. So I was really excited to find that fabric and felt it really went well. The other thing that I'm trying to get done for April is to finally remember to take my freaking pictures so I can upload them and get my points. I'm down to like 700 points, and I can get New Zealand marked off and have my first country done. I just have to remember to take freaking pictures for that and for Flosstube. So I have to get better at that. So I have got those done. I now just need to put together 7 project bags as table gifts, and then I've got some other little fun things to bring along. Other plans. I bought the Museum After Midnight, the Lola Crow Sal that's starting in April. So I'm planning to start that at a retreat with it sounds like half the people who are going to retreat are starting that there. So I will be excited to start that. there's supposed to be an exclusive Witchy Stitcher, and then I think a Bad Stitch pattern, both exclusive for the retreat. So I might start one of those at the retreat. And then other plans. So for WipGo, for April, the numbers were 13, 14, and 6. So in my spot for number 13, I had Summoner, which is an Autumn Lane Stitchery design. Come on. So that will be fun to dye up some fabric to try and get it ready. The other ones were, for number 14, was the Yule Goddess, which I bought at the Jingle Ball last winter. Was my first online retreat. And I bought it because I had seen Adelaide, from Adelaide and Stitches, stitching it in Christmas. And so I bought that. And then the other one that was called number 6 was Stitches Haven. Stitches Haven was the controversial pattern from the 2026 Haid Stitch Along. They did it this year where if you stitched one page, you would get this. So a lot of people jumped in because a lot of the other patterns were either AI or just weren't appealing to people. And I was one of those people who jumped in. I didn't really find anything that I really wanted to stitch. I did choose one because I was like, oh, my friend might like this. And I was just going to stitch the one page to get this pattern. And then right when the patterns were released, they released the whole pattern of the one that you chose at once rather than giving you a couple of pages every couple of months like they normally did. And then they released this one-page pattern to everybody at the same time, which a lot of people got upset about because it said they lost, their desire to stitch the other one. Granted, I didn't have a lot of desire to stitch my other one, so it didn't really matter to me. I mean, granted, I probably would have been still be stitching on the other one trying to get this pattern, but which I haven't because I have the pattern. So, and so I am really tempted to just start stitching this because I want to stitch it, or at least take it to the retreat with me. But I don't know, because also I'm not feeling a whole giant desire to start stitching on the Yule Goddess, so I'm like thinking maybe wait to just start in, Christmas in July or Christmas, because there is, like, most people either choose not to stitch spot 13. So that's why she does 3 for this month whenever 13 is called. I have a 13. I don't have a 25. So I'm like, I could just hold off on one and put it in whenever 35 or 25 is called, because I won't have that. Haven't decided what I'm going to do there. I am very tempted to keep Yule Goddess out for that. I'm just worried if I do that, then I won't have the motivation to make me stitch it when it's actually called, unless it is called in one of those times like Christmas in July or in actual December when it is Christmas time, where I might have more of a desire to stitch on it. So I don't know about that. What I am planning for the retreat is, what I want to do is try and, before I go to the retreat, knock out the first card on the Nostalgic Tarot cards. Then I want to take any of my WipGo starts that have been called up to March that I haven't got started on, Like I have these fabrics that I hand dyed for the reader, and E is for elephant. But I haven't started on them yet because right around the time I finally finished hand dyeing them, I got started on the frog. So I want to knock the frog out, knock the fool out, and then work on any of the other WipGos that I need to get their 500 stitches. And if I can get them done before the retreat, great. If not, I'm going to take them to the retreat with the goal to do that. And then I'll see, I guess, once it gets towards retreat time, which is only in 19 more days, how much of that I've gotten accomplished and how much I'm planning to take with me. Because I would really like to take Stitcher's Haven and start that, or the Summoner, but I may hold off on those just because I've got a lot of other stuff piled up, but we shall see. I really need other people to stop doing styles, because like Jason has already started talking about doing a Halloween ornaments exchange, and then another winter ornament exchange in September again. And then my round robin, it sounds like the our Canadian stitchers have both been sick, and then the other American stitcher had laser surgery on her eyes, so that one's been on pause mostly for the month of March, which I've already the one I was working on done. We're on our second, getting ready to go into our third swap. So I've already had the one I was working on for the second one done. I showed that to you guys in the last one video I had where I finished it. So I'm waiting on the swap to get another one, which will have to be a focus piece. So I'm trying to knock out a bunch of these to get the focus pieces done before that gets to me. So I guess those will just be my plans, is knocking out as much of it as I can. I think I will, from here on forward, start spinning my wheel at the very least once or twice each week, because otherwise I've discovered if I don't spin it at the beginning of the week, which my weeks start on Friday, because my weekend is Wednesday, Thursday. If I don't spin it at the beginning of the week, then I just let it go, and I focus on other things that I want to focus on, or that are just handy, and then I don't end up spinning it. So I want to get through those. So I will spin it like at least once or twice each week, so I am working my way through Darkthrone Keep. Keep working on my tarot, trying to stay caught up, or get caught up, or stay caught up on the Wip-into-shape. And then when I have free time, I will be throwing some into my living room set to try and keep moving my person forward and getting levels in Threadwalker. And hopefully, maybe through all of that, I can take some pictures and move forward in Wanderlust too. So, any good vibes you can give me to remember to take my freaking pictures would be appreciated. Also, that would give me something to throw up on Instagram, because I have definitely let that slip. Not that it was ever really great, but it would be nice to make that look a little bit nicer. So I guess I will just leave it there with those are my plans. I did send off 2 other pad folios. One to Amy from Harpy Stitch. She's been really nice and friendly through a bunch of Instagram here on my channel. She did shout me out right when I first started, and then she's also in Wanderlust and Children of the Cross Stitch Society's Discord group, and she's been really nice on all of the platforms. I was trying to hit Frogwarts with her, which is an online retreat. Unfortunately, that sold out really fast, and I wasn't able to get into it. So I did send her a Padfolio, Hogwarts themed. She got it. She was really excited about that. And the other one I sent to was Megan from MJ Stitches 23 here on Flosstube. She'd had a lot of kind of a rough personal time going on, and so I sent one to her, which she should get tomorrow. And I haven't sent anything to her yet, so I should send her an email and let her know that's coming. But I had fun putting together one for her too, that I hope she'll like, because she's starting to get her stitchy bug back and really using it kind of as meditation, mindfulness, and so I'm really hoping that will help her a little bit, because she was the one who really inspired me to create my channel. And she's just like, if you watch her, she's so filled with joy and optimism, and she's just such a bubbly person, and she's kind of took a hit, but it's coming back. I saw in the last video there were a couple of times where she had that joy again, and so I'm looking forward to seeing her, work her way through the hard time that she's been getting in and get back to normal. So if you are also going to be at the Children of the Thread retreat and you would like either a project bag or a Padfolio from me, please throw something in the comments. Other than that, I will see you next time, which I will do my best to be in 2 weeks.